Chapter 56. Ancient Forbidden Ground, Mysterious Wooden Tablet. Deoi's 9 cauldrons noticed Su Kai as soon as he appeared and asked in surprise, "Is this your disciple?" Hanju shook his head and said, "No, he's just my servant." Su Kai wanted to say something but eventually chose to remain silent. Deoi's 9 cauldrons carefully sized him up, and his eyes lit up. This child's potential is very good. It's truly a waste of his talent to be your servant. Why did you follow me overseas and seek the great Tao? Hanju frowned and his heart skipped a beat. Oh, ancestor. You're courting death. Deoi's 9 cauldrons looked at Su Ki and asked with a smile, "Boy, are you willing? I'm the founder of the Jade Pure sect. This is a great opportunity." He directly skipped Hanju because he already knew his personality. This kid was most afraid of trouble. If he could take Su Ki away, Hanju might be grateful to him. Su Ki was excited when he heard that. Hanju couldn't help but say, "Ancestor, this child's situation is special. It's best not to accept him." What could he say? Tell him that Su Ki was a jinx? Who would believe that? Deoi's 9 cauldrons asked with a faint smile, "Why? Are you unwilling to let him go?" Su Ki immediately said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, ancestor. I want to stay here." He wasn't stupid. Deoi's 9 cauldrons was the founder. He actually came to visit Hanju personally with such a status. What did that mean? Hanju's status was not low. He might even be on par with Deoi's 9 cauldrons. Fine. Deoi's 9 cauldrons smiled, not angry. He walked to Hanju's side and sat down. He smiled and said, "Young friend, I've already gone to all the sects in the Great Yan cultivation world. In the future, the Jade Pure sect will no longer be in danger. You can cultivate in peace." Hanju smiled and said, "Ancestor is truly the ancestor. How impressive, I'm very amazed." Deoi's 9 cauldrons stroked his beard and laughed, clearly enjoying the flattery. "When I went out this time, I discovered an ancient forbidden ground. There are abundant resources inside. I plan to take it for myself and make it the cultivation ground of the Jade Pure sect. This forbidden ground has just been discovered. There might be many treasures inside. Do you want to take a look?" Hanju raised his eyebrows after hearing this. Ancient forbidden ground. One word instantly appeared in his mind. Danger. Could it be the forbidden area that Zhou Fan had fallen into previously? Hanju hurriedly shook his head and said, "Forget it. Let's give a chance to the other disciples of the sect." Deoi's 9 cauldrons shook his head and laughed. This kid is really afraid of death. This was also good. The other disciples were too rash. It was better for the sect to have a cultivator like Hanju guarding it. Deoi's 9 cauldrons continued with a smile, "In 20 years, I will have to leave. The heavenly immortal abode is about to open. I'm prepared to enter to pursue the great Tao. Let me tell you, the heavenly immortal abode has an extraordinary background. Every 100 years, disciples who ascended to become immortals would appear." He began to talk. Hanju found it familiar. Wait. Wasn't this what Swan Qingzhen wanted to give him the first time she came to him? Heavenly Immortal Abode token. He had rejected her back then. From the looks of it, the Heavenly Immortal Abode was indeed formidable. Even an 8th level Void Amalgamation Realm cultivator like Deoi's 9 cauldrons wanted to enter it. Hanju listened patiently. Su Ki also listened. After a long time, "Ha, when I come back next time, I might already be at the body integration realm. My grand disciple said that you have outstanding potential and can catch up to me in a few 100 years. At that time, you and I will fight and see who is stronger." Deoi's 9 cauldrons smiled proudly. Hanju was speechless. He suddenly realized that Deoi's 9 cauldrons' personality was different from what he had imagined. This fellow had the heart to show off. That made sense. Deoi's 9 cauldrons' return this time could be said to be extremely sensational. He even suppressed the top cultivation of the Great Yan cultivation world. Such a person would definitely have a high-profile temperament. Hanju shook his head and smiled. Even if you give me a few thousand years, I won't be able to catch up to you. Deweist 9 Cauldrons was delighted. Deweist 9 Cauldrons has a good impression of you. Current favorability, 1 star. He finally had a good impression of him. Hanju had been wondering why Deweist 9 Cauldrons didn't have a good impression of him when he had contributed so much to the sect. It turned out that he wanted to hear flattery. Deweist 9 Cauldrons was finally satisfied. He was just passing by when he came to look for Hanju. He was shocked to discover that his prestige in the sect was not the highest. He couldn't compare to the deity-slaying elder. Deweist 9 Cauldrons had led the Pure sect to greater heights, but the deity-slaying elder had saved the sect. There was indeed a gap between the two. In addition, Deweist 9 Cauldrons was too high profile. He often walked around the inner sect and almost all the disciples had seen him. As for the deity-slaying elder, other than Jade Serene Peak, most of the disciples had never seen him. He had always been very mysterious. Under such circumstances, the disciples worshipped the mysterious deity-slaying elder even more. After posturing, Deweist 9 Cauldrons left in satisfaction. Hanju didn't think too much and continued cultivating. Time flew. 10 years passed quickly. While the Pure sect was growing rapidly, Hanju had been cultivating silently. His cultivation level had broken through to the 6th level of the Soul Formation realm. He used the simulation trial to fight Deweist 9 Cauldrons again. This time, he lasted for an hour. But he still lost. Hanju sighed. Deweist 9 Cauldrons, who was at the 8th level of the Void Amalgamation realm, was very strong. In a bad mood, Hanju prepared to go out and wander around. He suddenly recalled that Deweist 9 Cauldrons had already come into contact with Sukai. Would he encounter bad luck? He immediately opened the emails. Your good friend Mofucho was attacked by demons. Your good friend Mozu was attacked by demons. Your good friend Deweist 9 Cauldrons encountered a mental demon during cultivation. Your good friend Deweist 9 Cauldrons was attacked by a mental demon, reducing his cultivation by 100 years. Your good friend Zhou Fan is dead. His soul was recalled by a mighty figure. He has been reborn. Hanju was amused. Deweist 9 Cauldrons had truly gotten unlucky. As for Zhou Fan, this experience was the protagonist's life. Hanju shook his head and laughed. His mood improved and he got up to leave. Sukai was still cultivating. Hanju didn't teach him anything. He had been cultivating with the foundational key absorption technique until today and had never taken any youth-retaining pills. Now he was already mature and was no longer the elegant youth from before. Xing Hongxuan went out a few years ago and had just returned less than 3 days ago. Hanju decided to visit her. This was the first time Hanju came to her cave abode. Xing Hongxuan was so excited that she stood up to welcome him. After the two of them entered the cave abode, Xing Hongxuan waved her hand and used the formation array to close the entrance. Hanju sized up her cave abode. Although it was a cave abode, it had a unique charm. There were many paintings hanging on the wall, and the bed was a white jade boulder. It was spotlessly white. Xing Hongxuan immediately hugged his arm and pulled him to the table. She smiled and said, "Husband, you came at the right time. A few years ago, I went to the ancient forbidden ground and attained quite a number of treasures there. You can take a look and see what you like." She waved her right hand and treasures appeared on the table. There were jades, equipment, natural treasures, and so on. They were all very small. Hanju sat down and scanned them with his divine sense. He merely glanced at them. Although Xing Hongxuan was already a golden core realm cultivator, what treasures could she find? Hanju suddenly exclaimed. His gaze landed on a wooden tablet that looked like a memorial tablet. Xing Hongxuan noticed his expression and smiled smugly. "How about it? If you like it, you can take it. Everything I have is also yours." Hanju ignored her and picked up the wooden tablet. There were no words on it. It looked very ordinary. However, Hanju could sense a faint spiritual will inside. It was very weak. Ordinary soul formation realm cultivators might not even notice. Hanju closed his eyes and probed with his divine sense. Boom! A powerful divine sense broke through the spiritual will in the wooden token. Immediately after, a memory surged into Hanju's mind. Sing Hongxuan raised her hands and looked at him. It had been a long time since she had seen him so close. Why was this face so handsome? Sing Hongxuan was no longer young and often went out to train. She could be said to be experienced and knowledgeable. However, no matter how many talented people she saw, she still thought that Hanju was the best. He was indeed the man she fell in love with at first sight. Chapter 57, 4th Grade Numinous Treasure, Successor of the Poison King. After a long while, Hanju opened his eyes and looked surprised. There was a secret technique hidden within the wooden tablet. Heavenly Puppet. This kind of puppet was made of spiritual energy. Hanju could create a puppet with the same cultivation level as him. The weakness was that the puppet didn't last long enough. After the spiritual energy was exhausted, the puppet would stop moving until the next time spiritual energy was poured in again. The heavenly puppet was not able to fight automatically. It required a trace of the user's soul thought to control. It was similar to a clone, but the destruction of the heavenly puppet would not affect the creator. Because there was no need for breathing, the heavenly puppet could be stored in his storage ring. This was a good secret technique. Hanju could create some heavenly puppets for the people he wanted to protect. Hanju immediately stood up and said, "It's indeed a good treasure. I'll go back and cultivate first. I'll look for you again after some time." With that, he vanished. Sing Hongxuan was taken aback. Her expression turned bitter. However, on second thought, it must be a good treasure to make Hanju so impatient. She felt happy again. He would definitely like her more now. After returning to the connate cave abode, Hanju immediately started creating the heavenly puppet. He mobilized his spiritual energy with both hands as if he was creating an invisible clay figure. He was pleasantly surprised to find that using the 6 paths spirit energy to create the heavenly puppet was not an obstacle. The inherited memories told him that the creation process of the heavenly puppet was very difficult. The difficulty was related to spiritual energy. Under normal circumstances, it was difficult for spiritual energy to materialize, let alone create puppets. However, according to the heavenly puppet secret technique, it was indeed possible. This was extremely miraculous. At the same time, the secret technique to create a soul thought was rather rare and could be used on other techniques. Soul thought was equivalent to having an extra pair of eyes. Hanju planned to create some heavenly puppets for Sing Hongxuan, Chang Yuer, and Fairy Caxixuan. Oh! One for his disciple, Yang Tiandong, as well. The next time they encountered danger, his puppet would save their lives. However, Hanju still underestimated the difficulty of making the heavenly puppet. It took a full year. Hanju had only created one heavenly puppet. Although it was not difficult to create, it was too cumbersome and required a lot of time and effort. The newly formed heavenly puppet was already fully charged. This puppet was like a wooden puppet with a crude appearance. Hanju didn't dare to carve his face onto it. Wasn't that just drawing attention to him? Then Hanju flashed into Sing Hongxuan's cave abode. Still cultivating, she was shocked by Hanju's sudden appearance. However, when she saw that it was him, she smiled happily again. Hanju immediately took out the heavenly puppet and said, "Put this puppet in your storage ring. No matter where you go in the future, you must bring it with you. At the critical moment, it can save your life." With that, he returned to the connate cave abode. Sing Hongxuan was pleasantly surprised as she looked at the heavenly puppet. Its figure was very similar to Hanju. On the other side, Hanju continued to create more heavenly puppets. With the first experience, Hanju created 2 more heavenly puppets in the next year. The heavenly puppet was equivalent to his avatar. Apart from not having his Dharma treasures, it could unleash his true strength. It was very powerful. Hanju had thought about creating an army. However, after creating the 3 puppets, he dismissed the idea. Creating a soul thought was equivalent to cutting off a piece of his soul. A few soul thoughts were fine, but a few dozen would be problematic. Any more and his soul would be reduced to a remnant soul. In addition, creating the heavenly puppet would delay his cultivation. In the past 2 years, his cultivation level had not increased at all. If he was obsessed with creating heavenly puppets, wouldn't that affect his true pursuit? That wouldn't do. It would delay his cultivation. Hanju took a deep breath. He put away the 2 puppets and left. Suki was secretly curious. What were those 2 wooden puppets? In the past 2 years, he had personally seen Hanju create the heavenly puppets and felt that they were amazing. He couldn't figure it out and decided not to think about it. Hanju gave the 2 puppets to Chang Yuer and Fairy Xuan. Chang Yuer was pleasantly surprised and kept pestering him. It took a long time for him to escape. Fairy Xuan was very calm about it. The 2 did not talk much. One was passionate, while the other was cold. Hanju clicked his tongue in wonder. Yang Tandong followed the sect master and was always outside. He couldn't be found for the time being. Previously, he was still considering if he should refine a heavenly puppet for Mo Zhu. In the end, he heard from Chang Yuer that Mo Zhu had already headed to the secret hall. The secret hall was the ancient mystic realm that Dewaist 9 Cauldrons had discovered. He had created a new location for the sect inside, and the spirit key there was richer than that of the inner sect. To join the secret hall, one had to be an elite disciple at the very least. In other words, the Jade Pure sect now had a new hierarchy. The secret hall, the inner sect's 18 peaks, and the outer sect. The ancient mystic realm had yet to be fully explored, so only the secret hall was the safest. The inner sect had a teleportation formation leading there. However, the concentration of spiritual energy in the secret hall was not comparable to Hanju's mountain. So he was too lazy to move over. Back in the cave abode, Hanju perked up and started cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. 3 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanju. You are already 200 years old. You have already lived for a long time. You have the following choices for your future cultivation. 1. Cultivate in a low-profile manner, just like you did in the first part of your life. Cultivate quietly and don't fight for fame and fortune. From now on, the rewards will favor keeping a low profile. You can obtain a numinous treasure. 2. Cultivate in a high-profile manner, become a prodigy, and become famous throughout the world. From now on, the rewards will be more focused on cultivating in a high-profile manner. You can obtain equipment, a spell technique manual, and a mystical power inheritance. Unknowingly, Hanju was already 200 years old. Time truly passed quickly. Hanju didn't hesitate and chose the first option. A prodigy of a generation? It sounded great, but he refused to accept it. My aptitude is so amazing already, why should I be high profile? When I reach the Great Tao, won't I be able to travel the world more freely? Hanju thought proudly. You chose to cultivate in a low-profile manner and attained a numinous treasure. Congratulations on obtaining a 4th-grade numinous treasure, Frost Lord's Glazed Crown. Frost Lord's Glazed Crown. 4th-grade defensive numinous treasure. It can reflect all attacks below the Void Amalgamation realm, except for some special mystical powers. It can effectively defend against soul and consciousness attacks. Another defensive numinous treasure. The system knows me well, Hanju thought in surprise. He immediately took out the Frost Lord's Glazed Crown and began to connect with it using his blood. This crown was very cool looking, being purple-blue in color, and looked very exquisite. From now on, Hanju was armed with numerous treasures from head to toe. He was armed to the extreme. Nobody at the Soul Formation Realm could hurt him at all. As for the Void Amalgamation Realm, they could forget about instantly killing him. Suki noticed the glazed crown and his eyes widened. It was his first time seeing such a handsome crown. After half a day, Hanju finally made the Frost Lord's glazed crown recognize him as its master. He put the crown on, feeling more secure. Hanju continued cultivating happily. Another 5 years passed. Doist 9 Cauldrons left with a group of disciples and headed overseas. Before leaving, Chang Yuer came to bid him farewell. It took Hanju a long time to send this crying senior sister away. After Doist 9 Cauldrons left, Hanju became bored. He used the simulation trial to check the person with the highest cultivation in the Jade Pure sect other than him. Lai Qianlong, 5th level of the Soul Formation Realm, the successor of the Poison King. Chapter 58. 8th level of the Soul Formation Realm, Book of Misfortune. Li Qianlong, Poison King's successor. Hanju had a strange expression. Lai Qianlong's name was very familiar. He seemed to have heard it somewhere before. Wait. More than 100 years ago, Mo Zhu had asked him to look for opportunities together. It seemed like she was looking for Lai Qianlong's cave abode. He didn't expect that after so long, Doist Li Qianlong would actually come here. The 5th level of the Soul Formation Realm was extremely high in the cultivation world of the Great Yan. If he returned openly, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Hanju had never heard of such a thing. Yang Tiandong, Chang Yuer, and Tsing Hongshuan often came to look for him, but none of them mentioned it. What did this mean? It meant that Lai Qianlong had infiltrated them. Hanju immediately searched for him. Lai Qianlong was actually at the main peak. At that moment, Doist Jingsu summoned all the disciples of the main peak. Tsing Hongshuan was also present. Lai Qianlong had an ordinary appearance, and his aura was suppressed at the 1st level of the Golden Core realm. He had an honest appearance, yet who would have imagined that he was the successor of the Poison King? Hanju didn't send his divine sense into the main peak to avoid alerting the enemy. The reason why Doist Jingsu had summoned all the disciples was to inform them of Doist 9 Cauldrons' departure. When Lai Qianlong found out, he was overjoyed, but he hid it well. He had finally found an opportunity. Previously, with Doist 9 Cauldrons around, he didn't dare to act recklessly. Now that Doist 9 Cauldrons had left, he finally felt as if the clouds had parted, and he could finally see the sun. Calm down. There's one more standing in my way. Li Qianlong thought silently. The most mysterious person in the Jade Pure sect. Deity Slaying Elder. He had heard that the reason why the Raincoat sect was defeated was that the sect master slaughtered his way to the Jade Pure sect and never returned. At that time, Doist 9 Cauldrons had yet to return. In other words, Deity Slaying Elder had the terrifying ability to kill the sect master of the Raincoat sect. Before Lai Qianlong carried out his plan, he had to think of a way to deal with the Deity Slaying Elder. However, he had yet to find out who the Deity Slaying Elder was. It was said that he came from Jade Serene Peak. Jade Serene Peak. When he thought of that person on Jade Serene Peak, Li Qianlong's gaze became bitter. Ever since he discovered Li Qianlong, Hanju would often pay attention to him while cultivating. If Li Qianlong didn't want to harm the Jade Pure sect, he naturally couldn't kill him directly. He had sent a voice transmission to Tsing Hongshuan. The inner sect of the Jade Pure sect was very peaceful, and there had been no incidents. Just like that, 5 years passed. Hanju broke through to the 7th level of the Soul Formation Realm. He was getting closer and closer to the Void Amalgamation Realm. Hanju was very happy. He checked Li Qianlong's location again and discovered that he had already left the Jade Pure sect. Hanju didn't mind. It was fine as long as Li Qianlong didn't cause trouble. Hanju checked the emails. Your Dao companion Suan Qingzhen experienced the aspects of life and comprehended a mystical power. Your good friend Mo Fuchao has fallen to the demonic path. Your divine pet, the chaotic heavenly dog, has comprehended its innate mystical power. Your good friend De Waste 9 Cauldrons was attacked by a demon king and was severely injured. Your good friend De Waste 9 Cauldrons is furious and his Dao heart is damaged. Your good friend Zhou Fan obtained the domination physique, shaking heaven and earth. Hanju was stunned. KK. So much had happened in the past 5 years. Mo Fuchao had fallen to the demonic path. What had happened to him? That dog actually didn't tell him that it had comprehended its innate mystical power. De Waste 9 Cauldrons was truly pitiful. Served him right for attempting to recruit the Jinx. As for Zhou Fan, wow. He really lived up to his protagonist-like name. Hanju took a deep breath and felt that he couldn't relax. His cultivation might be the apex in the cultivation world of the Great Yan, but that did not mean that it would be the same in the future. He had to cultivate diligently. A protagonist like Zhou Fan might change an era. Although he was still a golden core cultivator, his recent encounter was very similar to the early stages of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. He was constantly building his foundation. After so many years, the natural treasures in his mountain also began to mature one after another, and the spirit Kai entered a period of explosive growth. Hanju decided to try his best to reach the void amalgamation realm. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years passed. Hanju's cultivation level had reached the 8th level of the soul formation realm, and he was not far from the 9th level. Every time he thought of the void amalgamation realm, he would be very excited. One fine day, Lei Qingzi came to visit. To prevent Su Kai from passing on his bad luck to him, Hanju walked out of the cave abode. Elder Han, long time no see. How's your cultivation going? Lei Qingzi asked warmly. He was in the limelight now. With De Waste 9 Cauldrons' help, his cultivation level had already reached the 9th level of the nascent soul realm. Apart from his cultivation, he was also the leader of the righteous path in the Great Yan cultivation world. All these years, Hanju didn't see him being attacked. Not bad. May I know why you are looking for me? Hanju asked with a smile. Lai Qingji smiled and said, the Righteous Path's Cultivation Conference is about to begin. Do you want to go? This conference is located in the imperial capital of the Great Yan Dynasty. You can obtain the Providence of the human race that can aid in cultivation. A notification appeared in front of Hanju. Sect Master Lei Qingzi invites you to participate in the cultivation conference. You have the following choices. 1. Reject. Continue cultivating. You can obtain a numinous treasure. 2. Accept it. If you leave the sect with the sect master, you can obtain a superior grade spirit stone. The difference in rewards between the two was huge. However, Hanju was already used to it. It was not that the system forced him to make such a choice, but that he had chosen to cultivate in a low-profile manner. This was the path that the system had planned for him forward. Hanju silently chose the first option. It was very easy for something to happen during the cultivation conference. It was a big deal. Hanju shook his head and said, forget it, I won't go. Sect Master, be careful. Although things have been going smoothly for the J Pure sect recently, the matter of the ancestors' departure will definitely be known by other forces. Lai Qingzi sighed. This Elder Han's heart of cultivation was ridiculous. If it was him, with Hanju's ability, he would have long been out enjoying life. You rejected the sect master's invitation and attained a numinous treasure. Congratulations on attaining the supreme grade numinous treasure, Book of Misfortune. Book of Misfortune. Unparalleled numinous treasure. It can curse living beings and bring misfortune to them. At the same time, it will not be detected by them. Eh? The Book of Misfortune? Curse! Hanju became interested. However, with Lai Qingzi in front of him, he couldn't take it out. Sect Master, what do you think of Li Qianlong? Hanju suddenly asked. Lai Qingzi was about to leave the sect. If Li Qianlong returned and wanted to cause trouble, Hanju had to know if he could kill him. Lai Qingzi's expression changed when he heard that. Why do you ask, Elder Han? As soon as he said that, he felt that his attitude was not good. He hurriedly explained, this person was once my junior. His talent was unparalleled, but both he and Guan Yuging liked Fairy Kazixuan. The two of them had a life and death battle and forced my master to make a move. However, Li Qianlong was not convinced and actually dared to make a move on my master. While imprisoned, he secretly fled the sect. Before he left a letter saying that he would definitely overturn the Jade Pure sect when he returned. He was very displeased when Li Qianlong was mentioned. Hanju blinked. It was another tragedy caused by jealousy. No wonder Fairy Xiaoxuan did not allow her disciples to talk about love. Hanju said softly, Li Qianlong has returned, but he went out recently. He disguised himself and entered the main peak. Lai Qingzi widened his eyes and trembled in anger. He grabbed Hanju and said, if he comes back again, Elder Han, you have to catch him. That's right, don't kill him. Don't be too ruthless and kill him accidentally. Chapter 59. Preparing to break through, Jinx's secret mission. Hearing Li Qingzi's words, Hanju was very curious about the gossip of this generation. Why did it feel like all of them liked Fairy Xiaoxuan? Wasn't Dewey's Jinxu good enough for them? Well, that was true. Dewey's Jinxu was not beautiful. Lai Qingzi left after leaving some parting words. Lai Qianlong's appearance made him uneasy. He frowned as he left. Hanju returned to his cave abode and took out the Book of Misfortune. This was a supreme-grade numinous treasure. Hanju was very excited and started to drip blood on it. Suki opened his eyes and looked at the Book of Misfortune in Hanju's hand. The Book of Misfortune looked more like a black drawing scroll than a book. For some reason, when Sukai saw the Book of Misfortune, he felt an inexplicable closeness. He liked this treasure. But liking was just liking, Suki did not dare to ask for it. He continued to cultivate. Because of his outstanding aptitude, Hanju had imparted the Jade Pure technique to Sukai some time ago. The Jade Pure technique was the ultimate technique of the Jade Pure sect. It wasn't difficult for Hanju to obtain it with his status. The two of them already had a master-disciple relationship. It took Hanju an entire day to make the Book of Misfortune recognize him as its master. He injected 6 paths spirit energy into it and started cursing Li Qianlong. He imagined Li Qianlong's face in his mind. Between the mountains and rivers was a bamboo house. Li Qianlong knelt at the entrance. He asked in a low voice, Master, what must I do for you to leave the mountain? An old voice came from inside. I've already left the cultivation world for 1,000 years. I don't want to participate in its disputes anymore. You can take revenge yourself. I've already passed on my legacy to you. Don't push your luck. Li Qianlong was extremely unwilling when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and said, Master, then pass me the recipe for the divine poison pill. I'll rely on myself. No, that's my ultimate treasure. If I pass it to you, won't I be stupid if you used it to poison me to death? Li Qianlong almost spat out blood. He cursed in his heart. Becoming a disciple of the Poison King was not a stroke of luck. He had been the Poison King's pill tester for 100 years. He had tried all kinds of poisons. That period of time could be said to be worse than death. The only consolation was that he would be the Poison King's only successor. In the end, this scoundrel, the Poison King, actually held back and did not impart all his skills. The Poison King's voice floated out again. De Waste 9 Cauldrons has already noticed my existence. I can't offend him rashly. Right now, the Jade Pure sect is like the sun in the sky. Not many sects dare to offend them. However, if you insist, you can look for the Wei family. Although they aren't considered top-notch in the Great Yang cultivation world, they often roam the world and have a wide network. Lai Qianlong's eyes flickered as he pondered. 5 minutes later, he left. He hadn't walked more than 5 kilometers when a bolt of lightning struck him. He was caught off guard. Fortunately, Lai Qianlong's cultivation was high and he wasn't injured. He looked up at the sky and cursed. What a coincidence. Hanju cursed Lai Qianlong for a period of time. He couldn't test the results and could only give up and focus on cultivating. A month later, Yang Tiandong returned. To prevent him from meeting Su Qi, Hanju walked out of the connate cave abode. Yang Tiandong had already completely displayed his talent. After entering the Golden Core realm, he first advanced to an elite disciple before advancing to a core disciple. He was one of the most prominent figures among the younger generation of the Jade Pure sect. Master, I plan to go to the cultivation convention. When the time comes, the various sects will spar. Can you? Yang Tiandong asked nervously. After learning the Heartless Flying Sword, Yang Tiandong's strength increased greatly, but he still felt that it was not enough. Hanju nodded and said, Then I'll teach you another ultimate technique to win honor for the sect. This ultimate technique is called the Wind God technique. Yang Tiandong was excited and quickly thanked him. 3 days later he left. Hanju felt like he had forgotten something. Oh, he had forgotten to create a heavenly puppet for him. Oh well. His luck was strong, so he should be fine. 5 years later, Hanju finally broke through to the 9th level of the Soul Formation Realm. Next was the Void Amalgamation Realm. But before that, he had to raise his cultivation level to the Major Perfection Soul Formation Realm. Hanju looked at Su Kai. He felt that it was time to throw this kid out. It was not convenient if he stayed here every day. Hanju coughed. Su Kai looked at him. Hanju asked expressionlessly, You've been with me for some time. You could be considered to have stepped on the path of cultivation. Su Qi said gratefully, Thank you, senior. Hanju said, I'll give you a mission. If you can complete it, I'll take you in as my disciple. Upon hearing this, Su Qi's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly asked what the mission was. I want you to go to the North State and join the Demon Taming sect. You don't have to do anything. Just hide in there and cultivate. In the future, I will personally head there and destroy their sect in the future. You will be my spy. Let me say this first. The Demon Taming sect is very strong. Even someone at the Void Amalgamation Realm can only be considered an elder. Hanju spoke in a meaningful tone. Su Qi was shocked. He had already understood the cultivation realms. The strongest in the Jade Pure sect was only at the Soul Formation Realm. How powerful was the Demon Taming sect? Most importantly, Hanju wanted to destroy it. How strong was he? Su Qi's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 5.5 stars. A question mark appeared above Hanju's mind. Su Kai hurriedly guaranteed, I will complete the mission. This is a secret mission, you can leave now. Leave the Jade Pure sect and don't interact with anyone here. All right. Su Kai stood up excitedly. After walking out of the connate cave abode, the sunlight fell on Su Kai. He couldn't help but feel as if a lifetime had passed. He clenched his fists and took a deep breath. I must complete Master's test. Su Kai immediately went down the mountain. On the way down, he saw the chaotic heavenly dog and the black hell chicken fighting. Yeah, they were fighting. The black hell chicken's bloodline was still awakening. As for the chaotic heavenly dog, it had the talent of a divine beast. Its cultivation level was second to the black hell chicken's. This fat dog did not want to remain in its current status. It wanted to be the elder. Naturally, the black hell chicken had to educate it. The two beasts often fought. Of course, their fights were non-lethal. Although the chaotic heavenly dog was arrogant, it was very close to the black hell chicken. After all, it was hatched by the chicken. After all, the black hell chicken was its father. Suki smiled and said, "What a fat dog." This chicken and dog battle is really interesting. The chaotic heavenly dog immediately turned around and charged at him. Suki fled in fright. After leaving the mountain, Sukai escaped the pursuit of the chaotic heavenly dog. He suddenly realized something. Where was the North State? Forget it. That wasn't important. He would definitely find out eventually. This was definitely one of Master's tests. After Sukai left, Hanju continued to cultivate. 2 years later, his cultivation finally reached the major perfection soul formation realm. He was about to break through to the void amalgamation realm. Hanju held back his excitement and checked his emails first. Your disciple Yang Tandong was attacked by a demon king and was severely injured. Your disciple Yang Tandong had a fortuitous encounter and awakened the demon saint bloodline. Your divine pet, chaotic heavenly dog, made a mistake in cultivation. Cultivation has been reduced by 20 years. Your good friend Mo Fucho was attacked by righteous cultivators. X104. Your good friend Chang Yuer accidentally obtained a fortuitous encounter, and her cultivation level increased greatly. Your disciple Sukai was attacked by a fiendish cultivator. X27. Your disciple Sukai was captured by the Green Ghost sect. Your disciple Sukai spread his bad luck. The Green Ghost sect encountered an extremely rare heavenly tribulation that struck once in hundreds of years. The entire sect has been destroyed. Chapter 60. Finally achieving the void amalgamation realm. Birth Dharma treasure. Destruction of the entire sect. Hanju was stunned and gasped at his amazing power. As expected of Heavenly Court's Jinx, he was a walking nuclear bomb. However, Hanju had never heard of the Green Ghost sect. It was probably a small sect somewhere. A truly powerful cultivation sect would not be unable to overcome a heavenly tribulation that was rare even in a few hundred years. Perhaps with Suki, Hanju would be able to finish off the demon-taming sect. Hanju noticed that Mo Fuchao was being pursued by the righteous cultivators. He had completely fallen into the demonic path. It had to be said, the outside world was truly exciting and things were ever-changing. Fortunately, he chose to cultivate in a low-key manner. If he was like Mo Fushu, Zhou Fan, and Li Qingzi, how painful would that be? There was also his disciple. He said that he had gone to participate in the cultivation conference but was attacked by a demon king. Fortunately, he had survived. If he died outside, Hanju would be speechless. Something worthy of mentioning was that Lai Qianlong had not appeared recently. Could it be that he had successfully cursed him? Hanju shook his head and prepared to head to the 10,000 demon realm. In a dark valley, Li Qianlong leaned against the wall and held his breath. A dozen cultivators stood beside him. Looking up, countless demons circled above the valley. A young cultivator by Li Qianlong's side couldn't help but grumble, "Senior Lai, don't you know the way? Why did you bring us to the demon cave?" The other cultivators were also frightened. They were all cultivators of the Wei family. Lai Qianlong followed the Poison King's instructions and found the Wei family. He spent a few years taking in their eldest son and established a good relationship with him. This time, he left the Great Yan with the Wei family and was prepared to rope in other powerful sects in the cultivation world. However, something went wrong when they used a teleportation formation. They were directly teleported to the demon cave. There were countless demons here, and there was even a demon king whose strength was extremely terrifying. Even Lai Qianlong found it difficult to defeat him. Lai Qianlong was also very depressed. In recent years, his luck had been extremely bad. He had been struck by lightning during his journey and encountered a mental demon during his cultivation. He had robbed a young cultivator, but in the end, he was a soul formation cultivator pretending to be weak. This time, it was even worse for the Wei family. "No, I haven't had my revenge. I can't die here." Li Qianlong gritted his teeth. Pet Beast Pavilion. Dozens of disciples were gathered, including Dewaist Jingsu. From today onwards, all disciples are not to enter the 10,000 demon realm, and must await the open notice, Dewaist Jingsu said expressionlessly. A disciple of the main peak couldn't help but ask, "Master, what happened in the 10,000 demon realm?" The other disciples were also very curious. Every disciple would go to the 10,000 demon realm to capture demon beasts and increase their confidence in traveling the cultivation world. Deois Jingsu said calmly, "Deity-slaying elder is undergoing tribulation. Perhaps he's cultivating a mystical power." She never thought that Hanju would break through to the void amalgamation realm. It had only been a few decades. Impossible. It had taken Deois 9 cauldrons more than 1,000 years to reach the void amalgamation realm. One had to know that Deois 9 cauldrons was the #1 genius in the Great Yan cultivation world. Whoosh! The disciples were in an uproar. Deity-slaying elder is inside. Wow, I've never seen the deity-slaying elder before. It's said that deity-slaying elder is the strongest pillar of the J Pure sect. He has been cultivating in seclusion. No one can match deity-slaying elder's cultivation persistence. It's said that deity-slaying elder looks better than all men and women in the world. I really want to see deity-slaying elder's true appearance. Is deity-slaying elder accepting a disciple? The disciples were very excited and discussed non-stop. The news spread very quickly. More and more disciples rushed over, completely blocking the Pet Beast Pavilion. All the disciples had heard of the legendary deeds of the deity-slaying elder. Some people even said that the reason why the J Pure sect could be where it was today was because of the deity-slaying elder. Several days later, Guan Yubing rushed over. When he saw so many people gathered outside the building, he cursed angrily. "All of you scram. Whoever dares to gather here will be banished to the outer sect." With that said, all the disciples scattered. Guan Yubing came to the counter and said, "Activate the formation. I'm going to the 10,000 demon realm." The person in charge hesitated. Deois Jingsu said that no one is allowed. "Who do you think I am?" After hearing that, the person hurriedly activated the teleportation formation. After 7 days and 7 nights of persistence, Hanju finally survived the powerful heavenly tribulation and advanced to become a void amalgamation realm cultivator. With his ability, the heavenly tribulation could not kill him. Congratulations on breaking through to the void amalgamation realm and obtaining a birth dharma treasure. The birth dharma treasure will fuse with your soul and only recognize you. As you become stronger, the birth dharma treasure will also become stronger. As for the birth dharma treasure, you have the following choices. 1. Sword. 2. Defensive dharma treasure. Hanju was covered in defensive numinous treasures already, so he naturally chose the sword. After all, he was a sword cultivator. He chose the first choice without hesitation. Congratulations on attaining the Primordial Judgment Sword. Primordial Judgment Sword. Since you are not reincarnated normally, but have transmigrated here by crossing the primordial chaos, the primordial Kai in your body has been refined into your birth dharma treasure. Primordial chaos? Hanju was stunned. Was it TG primordial chaos? The system did not answer him. He didn't think too much and continued to consolidate his cultivation. His lifespan increased to 8,940 years. Awesome. Hanju also noticed that his identity as a human had changed to mortal transcendence stage. Was this a hint that he was on the path to becoming an immortal? Hanju was in a good mood. After 200 years of boring cultivation, anyone else would have gone mad. But he was used to this, he even enjoyed it. This feeling of steadily becoming stronger was too good. The reason why mortals hated cultivation was that they could not feel themselves becoming stronger most of the time. However, Hanju was different. His potential was outstanding, and he became stronger almost every day. Reaching the Void Amalgamation Realm meant that he was truly invincible in the Great Yang cultivation world. Next, of course, he had to continue charging into the Body Integration Realm. Hanju thought firmly. At this moment, a voice sounded, "Deity Slaying Elder, I'm Guan Yuging. After you consolidate your cultivation, let's spar. If I defeat you, I will become the Sect Master."